your desk. The next frontier really is the one in your den. I have to admit, every January 1st, I watch every bowl game at the same time. Okay, so I bring a TV up from my playroom and put it in my den, so I have two TVs, and I started watching the other games on ESPN3. Jason earlier was watching the ACC basketball tournament back there on ESPN3. I, perfectly honest, like watching ESPN3 better than regular television. As an Alabama fan, if you're watching ESPN3, they're automatically updating the stats on the side. So you know exactly how many yards Trent Richardson ran for. You don't have to wait for Vern Lundquist to maybe tell you going into halftime, what his yardage was. And so you get more data all the time. That is where all of this is ultimately headed, is that when your television becomes that additional resource for you and you can split your TV and have your email on one side and everything else that you're trying to do on the other, that's a real huge game changer as it relates to the consumer side of IT. This is the Microsoft new tablet down here on the bottom. Basically with it, from what they were showing us out there, and they may be talking about this today, I'm not sure, is you can jump between kind of the slick tile interface, or you can kick it old school and do it straight up like that. Nice device, looks good. Then of course, everyone heard about the new iPad coming out this week as well. If you Google really nice, or Bing, sorry, if you Bing really nice home offices, I've got to remember who I'm talking for here today. And these are like the home offices and stuff. And this comes up if you search for, really nice home offices. But the point here is that, it's been a very short amount of time that really the offices at the homes have gotten nice in a hurry. Bandwidth has become really available. You've got people coming into the office and they've got 50 people sharing a T1 line to the internet, and Charter's giving them a 50 meg connection, at the house. People have their setup just like they like it at the house, and they come to the office and they're crammed into a cube and all of that. So the idea is that this worker is ultimately deciding what technology they want to consume and how they want to consume it, and we have to be able to adapt to that from the cloud side. And the way that we're seeing a lot of our customers, what we're doing on the cloud, is that session delivery, cloud-based asset approach. So it's an application, that these guys might have written that served up out of the cloud to a device, or it's a session that we're delivering out of the cloud out to that device. Everyone heard the story about the guy from the VA that left his briefcase in a taxi in New York, right? And all the patient data and stuff was on that laptop, and it disappeared, and it was a huge HIPAA concern. When you go with the cloud and put everything in the cloud and you're just delivering data out to what's essentially a dumb terminal, at that point, data doesn't really matter anymore. The device, if you leave the device in the bucket at airport security, no data was on that. The data was in the session in the cloud. So then at that point, your iPad, your PC, whatever, becomes disposable to a large degree because all of your data is staying in the cloud. So you have to embrace that piece, hold all that, you could secure that, and then you let the edge device go. The way to secure the edge device, though, becomes the problem, right? Because you don't want to, you got to lock these things down somehow, and if the guy leaves, you can't delete the pictures that he took of his baby's first steps, right? So how do you protect a device without becoming so heavy-handed that when they leave, you basically wipe it all off, their Angry Bird scores are gone, the pictures of their kids, whatever, all that stuff is wiped off. So now there is software that's coming out. One of our customers up in Memphis purchased it. And again, in that yes, but, they said, yes, we are going to allow you to use any device. But to do it, you have to go to the individual app stores and download this tool. And when you download this tool, it's basically going to carve your device in half. And it's going to say, this is corporate and this is personal. And when you leave, sign here, we're going to delete everything that's on the corporate side of this device. We're going to kill it. We're going to wipe it away. You'll never even know it existed. But everything on the personal side, the picture that you took of Wayne Gretzky from the National Championship game, that will still be on your phone. Okay, so that's where this yes but stuff is going, is that for a long time, and these software vendors are just catching up with that because we've had to say, yes, you can use that device, but we don't really have any way to secure it. When you leave, we need to wipe it, and we need to let you show us that you wiped it and all that kind of thing. Now there's a way to just remotely do that. Rogue employee, boom, wipe their device. And that's a huge shift in the software piece that's enabled this culture to propagate. So we're really moving to this kind of any device type culture. I'll give a plug for Samsung. At the event I was just at, they showed a monitor that is a low voltage monitor that had a Windows-based terminal built into the monitor that was power over Ethernet. So for the techies in the house, that means you didn't even have to plug the monitor into the wall. You just plugged a Cat5 cable into the back of it. It was pulling PoE over the Ethernet and power in the 0 terminal on that and the monitor as well, because the monitor's low voltage. I gotta tell you, that's pretty cool. You know, in a healthcare environment, in a manufacturing environment where you may not have power where you want it, but you could drop a little Ethernet cord down and mount this thing up and plug it in, it's perfect for that. So that really any device, now we're having the computer built into the monitor, actually a dumb terminal built into the monitor, and we've gone all the way back around. So my old school technologist in the room that grew up with the mainframe and the green screens, you know, really what we've done is turned your PC, your screen, your iPad into the green screen again, and the cloud is just a Windows-based mainframe in the sky. You know, and we're just time sharing it just like we did in the past. The other interesting thing is that, you know, during the economic downturn, you would have thought, this is a Bombardier Global Express, that's that one right there, and a Gulfstream G5. That's what Mr. Gates flies right there, Jason. Yeah. And Mr. Buffett. But, you know, you would have thought these are the most expensive planes you can buy. And you would have thought during the economic downturn that sales of these would have gone into the toilet. Okay? What happened is that private ownership of these went into the toilet, but actual usage of them was at an all-time high because it made PR sense for a company to come out and say, times are hard, we've gotten rid of our plane. But what they're doing is they're time sharing them. You know, so they actually weren't really cutting any expenses. They just weren't owning them and the pilot anymore. They were just buying timeshares on these. You know, not many people can afford these. I mean, up and down the coast over here are condos that people rent all the time. Many more people rent them than own those condos. Exact same kind of thing is going on with the cloud. The type of infrastructure that TechLinks has built out, the type of infrastructure that Rackspace has built out, the type of infrastructure that Microsoft has built out with Azure, you can't even think about having enough money to replicate that. But you can timeshare it, you can rent time on it, you can utilize these massive resources that we have and use those for your business without having to buy the plane and the pilot and insure it. You can just pay for what you're using. And that's where the cloud is really incredible for the kind of the mid-enterprise customer and down, is that they get the same type of technology that a Regions bank would buy. Regions is our biggest customer, so I always use them as an example. But they get the same kind of technology Regions bank would buy, but they're getting a portion of it for them out of our data centers. And that's a really compelling message for the mid-enterprise and down, is that they're getting enterprise quality stuff for not that kind of price. And that same message, and there's TechLinks all across the country, right? I mean, not TechLinks, but people like us all across the company. And the SMB space and the mid-enterprise are the huge adopters of the cloud for that exact reason. So it's a huge time of change. And anytime there's change, you know, there's worry. And that's the guy that's creating worry. You know, is how do we